Podcast, the place where brands transform, dreams become reality, and stories become legends. Get ready to elevate your media branding experience with your host, Anita Sanya, the founder of Live Podcast Media.
Hi, it's Ann Carden here. I'm a top business growth strategist and the founder of the Expert in You programs and brand. And I'm so excited to be a proud sponsor of the 100 Days Live podcast with Anita Sonia. Anita is doing such great work out there, and I can't wait to be part of the 100 Days Live podcast. Anita aligns with what I do in my business to help my clients because I help them really build their influence and step up their game so that they can add that $1 million or even more with ultra high end clients. I would love to invite you to check out one of my programs called $1 Million Accelerator. It's a mastermind and mentorship program that helps you add that $1 million or even beyond to your business, but do it with high caliber $25,000 to $125,000 plus clients, months, or paydays. So check that out at annlcarden.com/mastermind. And if it looks like something that you would like to be part of, then you can apply there. Have an amazing day. And don't forget to be part of the 100 Days Live podcast.
So we are here, and then I'm still having to let me try. So here we are. I'm here again this morning. Good morning from Bali, Indonesia, and then good afternoon in the US, maybe, and then good midnight in Europe, and then Australia. Good morning also. So I'm here again. Thank you so much for supporting us until the day three already on 100 live podcast, and this is really exciting. Wake up in the morning at 2 or 3, and then on the road with the high speed on motorcycle without helmet, sorry, with the morning breeze, very fresh. And I am here, and today we are going to have another amazing top lineup speaker, guest expert who has been supporting me in the live streaming industry since the very beginning. I start my live streaming when I told her my idea. While some others people said that it was crazy to start live streaming for 100 days, but yes, our sponsor also Uncarden from the experts in you already. I I am very proud. I feel warm inside me with these people, amazing people support me, right? And she mentioned on the comment today that this is the third time I'm doing 100 days live podcast. Before was like 100 days live with Sonia, right? And then wow, so it is amazing that people actually really pay attention to my journey, to my what is it, to my not only journey. It's been like up and downs also, right, in the live streaming industry. I think it happens to everyone, to other content creators also, whether they are live streamers, podcasters. I know sometimes we have our moment, right, in the not only in the up and downs, but also the challenges with the social media, and then also with the, how do you call it, with the platform, right? So here I am, and again, she is a very amazing lady who has been supporting me. I would like to invite our voice actor, and I call her the Taylor Swift of voice actor because of her publicity, popularity, sorry, and then also the way she does her business, and also to build the community in podcasting. And also she has been sponsoring like podfest also. I would like to bring her on the screen. Jody Kringle, hello.
Hello.
Jody, how are you? Let me
I'm
try
good.
the model. I'm still
There we go.
experimenting. I'm still
Yay.
experimenting with
It's
Restream.
okay.
You see on the studio, it is said that we are connected to Facebook, but when I search the video, it is not there. But I think StreamYard has the
Okay.
same problem too, right? So
I
it
think
is
it's
click, click,
going
click, click.
to, yeah, I think it's going to my Facebook and my YouTube at the
Mm-mm.
moment as well. So I don't know.
Mhm.
I guess we'll see. It's all a great big
That's
experiment, right?
true. And then also, here it appears that the donation is there. It will be
Yeah.
great to accept some donation, right? But then I cannot, what is it, remove it from the studio.
Oh
It is
no.
funny though. But it's
Okay.
great. But it doesn't look good this way. No, let me try it.
I don't
So
know
so
anything
many
about
things
Restream.
happen. Yes, that's true. I used it a long time ago. It was
Hmm.
really actually very professional. Look, I love it. Before StreamYard came and other new platform came. Actually, they are. I believe they also have the features that were on the Restream before you. So I like it before because it looks professional. But then
Sure.
now I have difficulties to click click.
Mhm.
Yes, let me try. So I have to remove one by one.
Ah,
There
there you
we go.
go.
Yes, I have to
Well
delete it.
done.
So thank you. This morning, oh, I look like a little.
You look fine.
This is. I mean, like yes, but I'm nervous with this. With a lot of. It's like a new technology. You know that many
Ah, yeah.
people, live streamers, podcasters, other content creators, they are afraid about the technology. First, when I interviewed Ross Brand on the beginning, I cried because the camera fell, and he said it was okay. It didn't look
Oh,
that your camera fall or something like that. But then
yeah.
it happens to everyone. Then I see like, yesterday I thought Rob, like, he was very calm when there is a technical issue, right? And then
Oh, yeah.
also, yeah, and then also thought Cochrane also. So then they said it is because of the years that we have been. So it
Yeah.
takes years to train ourselves to get used to becoming in front of the camera when the technical issue happens, Yodi. What about you? Do you experience sorry, see? I mean, like, have you experienced a technical issue when you are doing your work also
Oh, yes, definitely.
in
Yeah.
the
Right
voice
now,
over?
yeah, well, in voiceover, totally. Yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you can have any kind of equipment go down for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
I often
Yes.
connect with some clients on a program called Source Connect so that they can
Mm-hmm.
record me on their end. And Source
Mm-hmm.
Connect has its quibbles. Sometimes it'll work
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes it's down. Or I was in the middle of doing a podcast interview on Riverside last week on Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
and our whole neighborhood went down. The electricity just gone. So I
That
I was
happens too.
tossed
I
up.
thought that it happens only here. You know that
Oh my
I
god,
lost the
no.
electricity twice
We were in the
for
middle
some
of an
days.
interview and all of a sudden,
Wow.
like everything went down. And I was like, what's going on? Our whole neighborhood. It,
So
it
what
wasn't just
happened? How
me.
to solve that problem?
You can't. You just have to deal with it. It just happens, and then you
Uh,
just reschedule. We did it Tuesday, and
mhm,
then, my guest was constantly having his computer stop on him, and he would have to go off and come
mhm,
back on again. I mean, it
mhm.
happens. You make it work, you put it all together again. No one knows.
No one knows. So actually that is normal. Then we have to be like an artist no matter how, whether we have to wave our
Oh,
hands to
yeah.
everyone, looking pretty and amazing, something like that when something this happen like this. And then Jody, you see my 100 live podcast that we will upload through Blueberry to my podcast looks very
Mhm.
luxurious and glamorous now because of your voiceover in the beginning. And today I'm successful to play the video. Thank you so much for that.
I'm glad to help. Yeah. This is a great
Yeah,
initiative, and I'm really happy to be a part of it.
thank you. And it's like, I'm very proud always to have your $1 million voice on my event.
From your mouth to clients' ears. I'll take it.
Yes, 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 yes. $1 million, like the Taylor Swift voice now. You are everywhere. You are very, very charming, very positive. Your aura spread everywhere, like waving your hands to the audience. I love that. And this is very important that what we are going to talk about this. The last time we talked about sonic branding also, right?
Mhm.
That still works today and people use that.
Oh, yeah.
And then I see that you do your branding also through the podcast. Even you sponsor the podfest, the
Mhm.
community, and you build relationship not only among the voiceovers but also like with the trainers, with the coaches, consultants also, and then you support us also on the live podcast award. So, how do you manage your time? Every time I interview someone, I'm very surprised and admire them how they manage the time and energy, of course. And are you like me? Sometimes you need to recharge, like long
Oh,
sleep
yeah.
because you are not an introvert like me. So after the
I
interview, sometimes I need
am.
to sleep like three
I am
three
totally an
hours to sleep.
introvert. I am an
Seriously,
introvert.
wow.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. For me, being
You're
an
very
introvert,
charming
well,
everywhere. Mm.
I have to be, but being an introvert doesn't mean you're shy. That's
Yes.
not, I have a very forward facing job. My career means
Mhm.
I am either
Yes,
on
facing the
video
public. That's
or, yeah,
true.
facing the public in some way, and so you kinda have to get used to that, and once you're used to
Mm-hmm.
that, it's less hard to do, but then I need to step away sometimes just to regain my energy. So, like
Mm-hmm.
you, I need peace. I need to be able to just sit back and relax and close my eyes, maybe listen to some ASMR or,
Wow, me,
yeah,
Imagine Dragon now. Every day Imagine Dragon is there. So if
yeah.
Imagine Dragon listen to this, I shout out to Imagine Dragon to Dan Reynolds.
I love that stuff. So yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I need to relax just like everyone else, but for
Mm-hmm.
me, being an introvert is more about how I regain my energy and less about being shy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then what about the me time? Because you are very busy also in many events, right?
Mhm.
And then you become also very, very popular in audio branding industry. And then what do you think you need to improve after this? Because I don't know what you need to improve. You are perfect. You know what I mean? You are perfect already. So do
I
you
love
still
that
need
you
to
say
improve
that.
yourself? That's
I
why.
love
Thank
that
you
you
so
say
much.
that,
But
but it's we're always
it is.
improving. And oh yeah, I don't want to be bored. That is my big thing. I never
Mm-hmm,
want to be bored.
mm-hmm,
And so I'm always
mm-hmm,
hoping to improve. For me, that doesn't mean specific goals. It means just
mm-hmm,
constantly moving forward. And that's
mm-hmm,
what I like to do. So I'm always learning. I'm always making new connections and finding out how I can help those
mm-hmm,
people and how we can work together or help each other or how I can learn more about what they're doing. A lot of times I invite them on my podcast if they happen to work in sound. It's just
mm-hmm,
i- to me, I just never want to stand still. I don't want to be bored. So I
mm-hmm,
never will feel like I've arrived.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's
You
never going to
arrive
be
somewhere because there is no destination. You
yeah,
still need to
exactly.
work with the
There's
other
no
big brands,
destination.
right? Mm-hmm. But
Exactly.
I still
Yeah.
want you to be like the voice offer of the movies in the Hollywood, right? Maybe for the
They
cartoon,
don't
something
do
like
that
that. As
anymore.
the queen.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
they don't do that anymore. There's a lot
really.
less yeah, there's a lot less movie promo than there used to be.
Mm-mm.
Mostly when
Mm-hmm.
movies are promoted, especially in the big theaters these days,
Mm-hmm.
they're doing
Mm-hmm.
it through the scenes in the actual movie. They don't have a voiceover on top of that a lot of the time.
Not
So
like the cartoon that you feel the voice over. of Ratatouille, for example, or
Yeah.
the
No, no.
Minion, something like that. Also, it's
Yeah.
direct acting also. Wow,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe it's
I
the
don't
time.
tend to. Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I don't tend to do a lot of animation or video games or
Mm-hmm.
audiobook work. My work is mostly in the commercials and corporate narration
In
and
the commercial.
advertising, marketing, branding end of things.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so I kind of I stick to my lane. Every once in a while, I'll do
Mm-hmm.
something like a voice for an audio drama. I've done some
Mm-hmm.
things in that vein, but I generally that's not what I get paid for.
That's true. And then as your hobby, I still wait for you to sing more. You know what I mean? I love your voice. And then maybe this is the
Thank
time
you.
are you also to be the real Taylor Swift with singing, but through the
Ah,
TikTok or to the YouTube, Jody.
I'm not even
Not
on
only for the
TikTok.
branding.
I'm not even
Wow,
on
the same
TikTok.
with me.
No, not at all. Not
Maybe
at all.
because the TikTok here is very different. I mean, with the content, so I don't
It's
really like
possible.
it. But maybe yes, and then in audio branding, my question is, what are the important factors that we really need to consider as a content creator, especially now AI is everywhere. And
Yeah.
then and yesterday I saw on Facebook feed the rumors about copy paste the content, but it can be because of the AI, right? Then people have the same data, even the same words, and then it is surprising that people still copy paste the emoji, maybe from the same coach or guru or consultant. But I think it is about AI also. So what we can do is like voice, right? With the sound, with the voice, with the audio, it can make us stand out among the crowds, where all of the contents are similar or even the same because the people copy paste. So what can we do with the audio branding to make
Well,
us
there's
different, to show our
yeah.
authenticity and our uniqueness out there?
Yeah. Well, sound really hits us in the heart and it
Mm-hmm.
shows our authentic self. So when you use sound in a consistent and an authentic way, and that
Mm-hmm.
could be voiceover, it could be music, it could be sound effects, it could be
Mm-hmm.
crafting a sonic world, depending on what you're doing. If you're
Mm-hmm.
consistent with that in all your company touch points, you're going to make a deeper connection with the people that you're trying to reach because
Mm-hmm.
that works with your visuals and it does hit us more deeply and more authentically. So, I think it's really important for people to know what they're getting when they use a voice AI.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's totally possible to get someone to read your commercial or to read your copy for a corporate narration.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that if that's the way that you are approaching your audience, it's not authentic. It's not really you. And that voice will say things. It'll
Mm-hmm.
say whatever you want it to say, but does it actually care about what it's speaking? And you can
Mm-hmm.
kind of tell, I mean, it's getting better, but you can kind of tell with AI. It either has like a very specific, really happy voice, or it has
Mm-hmm.
a really corporate like speak, and that's it, and there's no emotion there. Or
Mhm,
there's different, I guess, there's different levels of emotion, and you have to sort of go through your entire script to decide where you want that emotion to hit. It's like
mhm,
a program that you're putting through its paces. Whereas if
mhm,
you just got a voice actor and had a live session with them, they could get you what you want in 10 minutes. It probably will
mhm.
take you an hour and a half, 2 hours longer to get that AI voice to sound the way you want it to
That's
promote
true.
your brand, and
Mhm,
it's not an authentic connection.
mm,
It's not actually caring about what it says. There's no pre-life. There's no dialogue. It's not like it's answering a question, it's just regurgitating the words that you told it to speak. So,
mhm,
yeah, it can sound pretty good. There's no artifacts. There may even be breathing in there. I mean, they add breathing now
mhm.
in the AI
Because it
voices.
is machine,
Yeah, I mean, it's there, but it still doesn't have the emotion of a human being. It might sound
That's true.
decent, but there's no
But
real.
actually, what you mean is emotion can be created like by us when it is our own voice, not made by machine or AI.
And we can
So,
pivot fast. That's the
mhm,
thing. Human beings in a sentence will have
okay,
5 different emotions. An
yes,
AI doesn't do that.
that's what
So,
cannot be beaten by the AI
yeah,
for the
yeah.
time being.
So I think the
We
way that
don't want
people are
to.
going to differentiate themselves is if they
Mm-hmm,
make certain to actually have a connection with what they're saying, and if they actually act. This is actually voice acting. It's not just speaking words. So,
mm-hmm,
yeah, if you think voice acting is just speaking words, then sure, you can replace it with an AI, a synthetic voice, yeah, but it is actually acting. So that's using human emotion to make a deeper connection with what you're saying, to actually care about
that's
it.
true.
So,
Yes, to
yeah,
reach people's heart also to change their
exactly.
mind and to assure them whatever the goals of the voice actor that put into the what is it the commercial for example. And then you
Mhm.
mentioned about the five emotions. What are they?
Oh, there's lots of emotions. I'm just saying that
Mm,
many emotions
uh,
can be present in one sentence. It
mm-hmm,
it can switch from, proud to a little, expectant to
mm-hmm,
a little bit of anxiety to,
mm-hmm,
here's the solving of the
mm-hmm,
problem, so you're
mm-hmm,
proud and you're happy, and,
mm-hmm,
to a call to action that's like, "Here, this will solve your problem," like, there's all
mm-hmm,
sorts of emotions that can take place in one sentence. And
mm-hmm,
I mean, yeah, you could simulate that with an AI, but I don't know how
mm-hmm,
real it's going to sound. So,
mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know. It just seems to me like in this age where authenticity is prized, where we
Mm-hmm.
want to make an authentic connection with human beings,
I
using an
agree with that.
AI using an AI for your advertising, for the outreach to people who you're trying to get to care about your company, using AI
Mm-hmm,
for that shows them you don't really care.
mm-hmm. That's
Like
true.
that I
And
I
then
mean, it's not good. Does it It's not a good look. For
no, it
certain
sounds
things,
also
it can
a
work
bit
really
tough,
well.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. For certain things, it can work really well. Like, even e-learning, I don't think benefits from a synthetic voice because those things are meant to make a connection so that someone will pay attention and
Mm-hmm.
learn. And if you're not learning, then why even bother? There's no point. And people are going to get really tired and annoyed with a synthetic voice after a certain amount of time.
Yes,
It's
yes.
just not going to land.
For the faceless
So
video, yes, I started to feel, it's very draining and tiring to listen to, right? It is
it's
like the
hard to
constant
listen to.
voice. Yes, yes, that's
Yeah,
true.
and I mean, even, there's all sorts of things that it can work really well for, like phone
Mm-hmm.
messages and stuff like that, like IVR,
Mm-hmm.
telephony changes names or changes dates or changes times that the business is open, and, sometimes that might benefit from having a synthetic voice that can just on a moment change it because you changed the
Mm-hmm.
text, and that can work really well. Or if you need to be able to make a voice into a different language very quickly,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can globalize your message in a certain aspect, and, you just wanna do
Mm-hmm.
that really quickly, synthetic
Mm-hmm.
voices can do that very well. If you're trying to report on something like weather, and weather is constantly changing, you're not gonna have a voice actor come into a studio every day just to do new
Yes.
voiceover for a new
Mm-hmm.
weather because weather is all over the world, right? Like,
They
you
need
might.
our pretty Jenny for us.
Yeah.
The pretty weather
I mean,
forecaster and this
you
blondie
might use the
pretty. You want
same
to see
voice.
her. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You might use the same voice
synthetic voice so that it's
Mm-hmm.
branded across the brand. And in that case, that would make sense. And there are, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
there are certain places where a synthetic voice makes sense. But a lot of them, it really doesn't. And I think a lot of people are trying to use it as a band-aid solution for a lot of things it shouldn't be used for. I mean, I'm a little biased, obviously, but just my
Yes,
opinion.
but that is okay. What I mean is, I also watch some voiceovers in the studio.
Mhm,
They present how they deliver the voiceover right in the studio with many kinds of methods, right? And then
mhm.
uh, it seems that it takes some time for them also to find their pattern in
Oh, yeah.
voiceover. What I mean is like, this is my style and I will stick on this. But some people also they keep changing for different brands like you
Oh, you
in
have
one
to.
brand in one brand you are very very elegant, on the other brand you are very very like humanity, how do you call it, like give the empathy to the
Mhm.
case of
Yep.
humanity to the people, and the other brand you are very luxurious very charming, that but on the software you push people you have to buy this but on the different word. So how do you practice that? Of course the experience over the years cannot beat it because you are the professional and then you work with big brands, but in the beginning how do you start it to find those kind of pattern?
A lot of it has to do with coaching. Definitely, I had coaching in the beginning, less
Wow.
than I should have, because
Yes.
I I started probably
I thought
before I
that you
should have.
practice yourself because you are very amazing in it.
Well, this is I think I'm going into my 17th year, so it's
Yeah.
been a
Wow.
while.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And yeah, you learn a lot as the years go by, but a lot of it has to
Mm-hmm.
do with being able to take direction. So,
Mm-hmm.
listening to how people direct me to get what they want. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
it is understanding the language that a director is likely to use to describe something. For
Mm-hmm.
instance, if someone wants me to add more smile into something, and you can hear a smile. When I'm smiling, you can hear that,
Yes.
right? Okay.
That's right.
So,
That is the
yeah,
perfect one. What I mean, you don't need to show
exactly.
your face to make people feel emotional, to cry, to
Yes.
smile, to laugh.
Yes, exactly. So when
Mm-hmm.
when a director tells me that they want more smile, often what they'll say is, make that
Mm-hmm.
brighter. Make that sound brighter." And what they sort of mean, and what I feel that they mean after this long,
Mm-hmm.
is that they want more smile in it because it lifts it a little bit. It just makes it brighter, right? So
Mm-hmm.
so that
Mm-hmm.
just that's one of those directions that you get used to hearing on a regular basis. Or, make it sound more natural, in which case I
Mm-hmm.
just relax a little bit, let my lower jaw relax a little
Mm-hmm.
bit, and then you're just talking like a regular human being, and you pause, and you
Oh,
might think about
okay,
something
okay.
for a
Got
bit, and the things like that. So learning what the director wants from you and being able to
it.
deliver it on a dime really
Mhm,
quickly is part of
mhm.
what they're paying for, because that way I can get them in the voice what they hear in their head when they wrote that script, and quickly,
So we
so that
condition ourselves. I didn't know that because you
Mhm,
mentioned when you want the natural one, then you relax. So we really need to condition ourselves, not only from
mhm.
our voice, but our body and then
Oh,
our
it's your body
atmosphere,
follows.
maybe in the
Yeah.
studio.
It's
Oh.
very much your body. Yeah, it is. No one's
Mhm,
seeing me, but I'm moving my hands all
mhm.
over the place when I do this. Right? So, it just
Please,
gives
please
it
give the example.
well, like when I'm speaking, I'm saying
Mm-mm.
this and this, like, or if I have a
Yes,
list,
yes.
I might go, so there's this and there's this and there's this. And then it makes you feel like you're
I
actually hearing
cannot
separate
differ them
things.
really. Mhm.
It
But
just kind of, yeah, it works. it's very physical. It actually is very physical. No one's
Wow.
seeing me on the camera, so it doesn't matter,
Mm-mm.
but you hear
Mhm.
it. So if I'm doing a list of
Yes.
things, in order to differentiate them, I might, say
Mhm.
this, this, and this, or this, and this, or, it's
Still, I
here
cannot
or it's
different them.
there. But
It's like I
things
cannot
like
different
that.
the Indian singers, the female Indian singers. For me, they are all the sound the same. So maybe I am very blind about this.
Well,
But Jody,
I'm
this
sure
is
they don't
really
sound the same
interesting.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, please, please,
It's
please
all
give
good.
the example. Like for live podcast, I want my brand to sound energetic, motivating, inspiring. You know that, right? And then,
Hmm. Yeah.
on the other hand, we need to assure the people that you are safe with us. This is what you need right now. Please give the
Hmm.
example, Jody. And then
Oh, the
on the
example? I think you can hear the
and then
example from your intro. That was the example right
yes,
there.
I know what I mean. Even when you speak like this, you use the intonation, and I realized that. But this is like I want the example for the brands. Like after that, you have to how do you call it to promote a bank, a luxurious bank, who
Mhm.
has a kind like of luxurious jewelry exhibition as a present for the top clients. Maybe how do you do that? Please, Jody, please give example.
I need a script, Sonia.
It's okay.
I don't
It's okay.
I don't write the
Any
scripts.
script.
I don't
Oh,
write the
just some
scripts. People
words,
give
please.
me the scripts.
Only the intonation.
I'm not sure what to give you, Sonia, because yeah, that's
Mm-mm.
that's something normally people would give me a script and then I would give
Oh,
them an example. So yeah, I mean, if you had a script for me to read, I could try that. But
mhm.
yeah, I and
Let's
also
try.
it's
Mm-mm.
something I want to be very careful of because I don't want
Mm-mm.
to use a script that I've had before because that was given to me for another
Oh, okay,
reason.
okay.
So these are
Mm-hmm.
these are proprietary. These are things that are specific to that
Mm-hmm.
company, and I don't wanna be using them out of the
Mm-mm.
blue. So,
That's true.
yeah.
That's true. I
Yeah.
understand that. And then so that is very special for live podcast to have the opening
Mhm.
from you. Then even though we are on the 100 days, but I use your voice over for live podcast because it will continue and we have your opening also in the beginning, right?
Sure.
But then for the brands, how we put the emotions in our brand, how we determine that these emotions are exactly for our brands, especially for the startup, Jody.
I think that people
Uh,
need to think about how they want their clients to feel when they experience their
mm,
brand. So think
yes.
about the
Okay.
emotions that you want people to feel when they're buying from you or getting your service or
Mm,
having you help them or what have you. And, there are different types of archetypes, for instance. Are you a
mm,
caregiver? Are you a
mhm.
guide? Are you a sage? There's all sorts of different options for you to be for your clients. But then it's a marriage of who you are and who your clients need, who your
Mhm,
clients want you to be. So you kind of have to marry the
mhm,
two. And then once you know the
mhm,
emotion that you want to make people feel and who you are as a brand, you can come to an idea of what kind of sound you want and maybe what kind of voice you want. So is it more
mhm,
casual? Is it more formal? Do you use contractions like don't and can't, or do you say do not and cannot? You know, um,
mm. Wow, I
there's all
didn't pay
sorts of
attention to that details about the
yeah,
abbreviation or.
there's a lot
So
that
that
goes
is
into it.
important also. Oh,
Mhm.
that can differ a brand in
Oh, yeah.
only like the abbreviation from can and cannot. So maybe about the highlight or something like that, Jody. When we put
Mhm.
the music on it, also does it influence also our voiceover
Oh,
in
yeah.
the meaning of the emotion? So
Eh,
this kind of
very much.
intonation should be with this kind of music, with this kind of song.
Mhm. When I do a
Then it
work
will be
when I
very
Mhm.
expensive.
Well,
to
it
do
depends.
the
Actually,
audio branding.
it
Mm-hmm.
depends because I
Mm-hmm.
don't do audio branding myself. I know a lot of people who
Mm-hmm.
do, and I speak to a lot of them on
Mm-hmm.
my podcast. So,
Yes, and
I
I
know how it.
admire Zoom too.
Thank you. I talk to a lot of people who do it, and they all have different
Mm-hmm.
methods. But the idea is that the sound gives you emotional context for that brand.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm doing a job for a client, often I'll ask them to send me the music that they have decided to use on the video they want me or whatever they want me to do,
Mm-hmm.
just so that
Mm-hmm.
I have that emotional context because that music tells me where they're at. It tells me how informal they are or how formal they are. It tells
Mm-hmm.
me what emotion they want the people listening to feel. And my voice
Mm-hmm.
has to fit in with that music. So
Mm-hmm.
I often take my cue from the music that they're going to use.
So for the commercial, for example, you know the music first, and then you fill with the voiceover, not the opposite that you have the voiceover, and then the company will put the music.
Yeah, yeah. So sometimes they'll send me something that's, like, really playful, like a little, like, dingy piano, like,
Oh.
"Dun, dun, dun,
Mm-hmm.
dun,"
Mm-hmm.
and then I know I need
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of smile and just, a little bright list because it's kind of
A
casual, but,
little bit
we're having
girly
fun, right?
also.
Yeah,
Yes,
little,
like a little
right?
girl.
It's
I
not
love that.
really. Yeah, but, like, it's lighter, it's
Mm-hmm.
lighthearted, right? Or they'll send
Mm-hmm.
me something really deep and dramatic, and if it's deep and dramatic, then I know that I need to go drama, "Our
Mm-hmm.
company is this, we are so proud of who we are, and this is what you can expect when you work with us," So that's a very different
Mm-hmm.
tone from the plinky piano, that's cutesy,
But not
which
into
I
the
can do too,
horror
but
one, right? Not into the horror one or the scary movie yet, right?
no,
Have you
no.
experienced like that
Generally
also?
generally, when you're advertising, people want
Mm-mm.
happy. People want good, positive
Mm-mm.
emotions. When you're selling something, you don't ever want anyone to feel upset or angry or annoyed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Even if you're doing a dialogue with another voice actor and the
Mm-hmm.
the script, says that you're supposed to say someone's, "Oh, you're being silly," you don't say
Mm-hmm.
it meanly. You say it
Mm-hmm.
cutely, "Oh, you're being silly,"
Mm-hmm.
like you don't ever say
Yeah.
that like you hate the other person because
So
it's
that's
it's
true. The
just
voice
not.
actor is a real voice actor, not only from the
Yeah.
voice, but also with the body. Wow.
There's a
I
lot of
didn't know that.
considerations.
Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing this today with us so that the people will know what it takes to be a voice actor in the future.
Understanding advertising is really where I love to
Mm-mm.
be because I love the advertising and marketing and branding end of this.
Mm-mm.
But in that,
Mm-mm.
psychologically, we need to understand
Mm-mm.
that we don't really want negative emotions to stand on their own. So you can
Mm-mm.
start with a negative, but then you have to have a problem solved. For advertising to really be effective, that problem needs to be solved. So
Mm-mm.
it's like you need to resolve what the conflict was. You can't just leave it
Mm-mm.
hanging. Because otherwise you
That's
leave
true.
people with a bad impression. You leave people with
Yes.
anger or
They will not
anxiety
buy. They
or
will not subscribe. Yes.
exactly. You want them to feel safe and seen and interested and curious
Mm-hmm.
and happy. That's really what you want the end result to be because people are not gonna buy if they're not feeling seen and comforted and, um, aware of how this product or service could solve their problem.
Yes, that's true. And then when you started the voiceover for commercial, when did you decide to focus on the commercial, not another kind of voiceover?
I
How
think when
long
we
ago?
all.
Is it
Yeah,
is it from the
it
very beginning?
well, I started in 2007, so things were way
Mm.
different back
Wow.
then. I was on a message board. Social media did not exist. So, it's been a big change, and lots of things have changed over
Mm-hmm.
the years. But I will say that it probably took me, a good 5 or 6 years, I would say, to
Mhm.
understand where the market was going to put me and where I felt that I could do the most good, where I felt that my passion was taking me. And it happened to be in the commercial and corporate narration end of things because of my love of the psychology behind
Mhm.
advertising and marketing and branding. I was really fascinated by that. And that's why I started the podcast, because audio branding to me is a part of that. And I find it
Mhm.
endlessly fascinating. How sound
Mhm.
influences us to me is endlessly fascinating.
Mhm. Now I understand how you are very, very perfect in the commercial. That yeah, I've been seeing your commercial, and then also because you sponsor us, right? And then I play your commercial, and then
Mm.
now about podcasting. How do you do the podcasting for your branding? Because you really have wow, special guest speakers who are the experts in their industry, and they always share different thing than the other podcast. So if I need something, then I go to your podcast because they are different, right?
I'm glad. Yeah. I talk about all sorts of things. So
Mm-hmm.
the whole audio branding idea is that it's about how sound influences us. So that can be
Mm-hmm.
in our buying decisions, totally, but it also
Mm-hmm.
influences our daily lives. So, I talk about voice AI and voice synthesis, and I talk about audio
Mm-hmm.
diversity, and I talk
Mm-hmm.
about podcasting and jingles and filmmaking and sound design and storytelling and public speaking and research about sound and how it affects us. And I've even talked about machines learning to create music. So, again, we're getting into the whole synthetic AI thing and all sorts of things about how sound affects us psychologically and how it can heal us.
Mm-hmm.
So, binaural beats and ASMR. I became a fan of
Yes.
ASMR by doing research for my podcast. So,
Yes.
yeah, it's there's so much out there. Sound just influences us in so many ways, and we can use it
Mm-hmm.
for bad, but we can also use it for good. And I think that's important, that we need to be very conscious of the sound that we have in our
Yes,
environment.
because you mentioned the psychological behind it, right? And then
Hmm.
to the voiceovers need to have a podcast because I see a lot of some voiceovers actor also are into podcasts to do their branding to
Hmm.
introduce themselves to the market.
There are a lot of really good voiceover podcasts out there. Generally, they're
Mm-hmm.
for other voice actors, though, or people who want to be
Mm-hmm.
voice actors. So, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, all the power to them, and that's fantastic. And I love them, and they're doing a great job. My
Mm-hmm.
podcast is not for voice actors, it's for the people who hire us. So that's
Ah,
kind of
okay,
where
okay.
I differentiate myself. Not to say that the others don't have complete validity, because they totally do, and they do a great job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing something different. That's all. I just wanted to do something different.
Mm-hmm. And how do you choose your guests? It is you who personally deal with them or your team?
I deal with them myself, actually. I always have a
Mm-hmm.
pre-chat. So what I do before I
Mm-hmm.
interview someone is I talk with them for 15 minutes to a half an hour, depending on how much time they have
Mm-hmm.
and how much of a
Mm-hmm.
connection we have and we want to talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I
So
talk
with
with
that,
them
the Google
about,
form like the other people have to
oh yeah,
filter or to
I have a Google
yeah.
form, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
give that to someone until after our pre-chat, because that is how
Mm-hmm.
I know whether or not they're going to be a good guest. And not
Ah,
a good
okay.
guest in general, but a good guest for my podcast. They may be a
Yeah.
great guest for other podcasts, but if they don't speak specifically on the power of sound and deal with that on
Mm-hmm.
a regular basis, then they're generally not a good fit for my podcast. Doesn't mean they're not great
Mm-hmm.
for someone else's, but I want to make sure that we can talk about the subject, that they know a lot about the subject. I want to find out from them what questions they might want to be asked, so that we can talk about
Mm-hmm.
topics that they're really interested and passionate about. And I want to make sure that it fits with the expectations of my audience. So once I
Mhm.
have that information, then I give them the information to the Google form, and the Google form automatically forwards them to my Calendly so they can book in their time. And that seems to work really well. And I have a producer who runs the session in Riverside. And
Mhm.
then that producer sends the information to my audio and video editor. And we go from there. And I have someone who does my social media, and I have someone who writes my show notes. And it's kind of a process right now, but it's good.
Yes,
It's good.
but I'm very happy that you share with us today because I thought that you work with a team directly about this, and then you also explain us about the process, which is really different than
Mhm.
the other recruitment for having the guest speaker. Usually, people will give the Google form like me because I need it whether they are fit or
Oh,
not,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because that is different, but you do it differently. The opposite that you interview them first and then the Google
Yeah.
form, right?
I like to have a connection to them before we start.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
usually I'll have that discussion with them, and then we'll book in the session for 2 weeks or later after, so
Mm-hmm.
that what we talked about isn't, like, totally remembered, but we remember we
Mm-hmm.
had a good time. So it's enough for us
That's true.
to be,
Wow, thank you for
comfortable.
sharing the key here, the
Yeah.
top tips. And then how long do you plan it before having the guest in the podcast? I mean, like for a certain amount of time, like you already have the guest speaker list in 3 months or 1 month. How
Yeah,
long do you prepare
usually
for that for the content?
well, usually when I have an interview, it's spread out over 2 weeks because I do an hour-long
Mm-hmm.
interview, and then we have a part 1 and a part
Mm-hmm.
2, approximately 30 minutes each part. And,
Mm-hmm.
we have probably about 4 or 5 interviews that have yet to be, edited in the can, and so it
Mm-hmm.
usually takes about 3 or 4 months before someone I interview sees their podcast come out. It could be 3, it could be
Mm-hmm.
4, it depends on how many we already have waiting. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but I'm always interested in talking with people who work in sound. So, if that happens to be someone in this audience, I'm happy to talk with them.
And then who is your favorite guest speaker so far, if you would like to mention?
I love them all. I do love them all, but I
I
have to
know,
say
but
I know
there
it's
must be
hard.
there is a
It's hard.
favorite.
It's
I
like
know.
choosing a favorite
That's right.
child. Yes,
Yes,
but
yes.
but I have to say, Steve Keller, who is the, sonic
Mm-hmm.
strategy director for SiriusXM and all of their properties, so
Mm-hmm.
Pandora and SoundCloud and SiriusXM, he is probably the favorite that I have had on. I've had him on a couple of times now. We just finished another interview, and he'll be coming out probably late August, early September. And I
That's
just
too long, Jody. Oh,
I
now it's
know,
already August. I
I know, but
cannot
it's
wait.
coming
When
soon.
you
It's
share
coming
it,
soon.
even though I don't listen right away, but I always do it later, right? I
Yeah.
don't miss the series. So
His first interview was episode 19 and 20, I think, or 18 and
mm-hmm.
19. And I'm up to, like, his next episode will be
No,
250. So
it's been
it's
a
been
long time ago.
yeah, yeah,
So
it's
there
been a
will be
long
many
time.
updates on the interview, right?
Oh, yeah.
About his industry, about his journey. Also, that will be interesting. Please
Yeah.
launch it sooner, not in September. August will be better.
Yeah. No, it's but he has regularly blown my mind about the information that he
Mm-hmm.
shares, and so he was one of the first to do that, so I have to say that of all of my interviews, probably his are my favorite just because he
Mm-hmm.
regularly surprises me with the stuff that he talks about, so I love being
Yes, that's why I
surprised.
cannot
That's
wait because there is
yeah,
always something special in your interview with them. And then
yeah.
Jody, about the branding itself, with the audio
Mhm.
branding, we are returning to the matter about the startup people, the startup who like to have the audio branding. First about the music, the sound, and then also the voice, right?
Mhm.
And then in mentioning the specific brand, for example, like at that time, I see that StreamYard has different kind of opening, right? But then maybe changing the company, maybe they will change the branding also. Then maybe they change it. Do
Mhm.
we need to change all the time? Sometimes about this kind of branding, the audio branding, or can we change in the certain period of time after evaluation, or we have to stick on one brand, so we have to be carefully planning from the very beginning? What do you think
I
about that?
I think nothing is in stone. So nothing is set in stone, and a brand is going
Mm-hmm.
to evolve over time. So what you
Mm-hmm.
want is a sound that can evolve with you. And like your
Mm-hmm.
visuals will evolve. So I don't think
Mm-hmm.
anything is set in stone, and if you're going to make something, I think that you should consistently use it and then
Mm-hmm.
change it as you need to. It might have certain elements in common with what you were using before. So,
Mm-hmm.
like certain notes, like a series of 5 notes or something, but everything
Mm-hmm.
around it changes. Or, you know, a sonic branding or an audio branding company can tell you how this would work. But, like, for instance, my podcast intro is kind of my audio brand, and it started with a sound or, a song from a license-free music directory, but it had
Mm-hmm.
this really interesting guitar riff, like, "da-na, da, da-na, da," right? It had
Mm-hmm.
this, like,
Yeah.
interesting intro, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
when I decided to go from that and have an actual musician write something for me,
Mm-hmm.
I said, "I like that riff at the beginning." But I we can sort of, like, change it to be something near to it and see where it goes, in a different style maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So the next one that I went to sounded a bit grunge. It sounded a little more modern, but it still had
Mm-hmm.
that intro. It still had that dun dun
Mm-hmm.
dun dun. It still had that part, right? And
Yes.
then after
So take
that,
a
I
little
went.
bit part to the next
Exactly, just
audio.
take it to the next.
Okay.
Yeah, so then when I
Mm-hmm.
did it again, I had someone make a new one, I think at episode 150, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and at episode 150, we decided to go a little more techno. So it kind of had a bit of a different feel to it. It wasn't grunge anymore like rock, it was kind of like techno. It was very forward facing and computer generated and a little more modern. And so that's what
Mm-hmm.
we've been using so far. But again, it still has that dun 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 dun. It still has that part in
Mm-hmm.
the beginning. So it's still my branding and people recognize it, but it's changed. So what I'm saying in that whole thing is that there are aspects of what you create that you're going to really
Mm-hmm.
like, and you can hold on to
Mm-hmm.
those aspects and build something around it that changes. So
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to stay the same forever. You can totally change things, but hold on to some part of it that seems more you, and then
Mm-hmm.
at least people have that familiarity to grab onto, to hold on to recognize
Mm-hmm.
you by.
Wow, this is really, really amazing to have all of this information from you to start the branding, and then it's almost 1 hour.
Yep.
Cannot see the time when I talk to you like this. So, and then, okay, the last question. Actually, we
Mhm.
can continue next time. What I mean is like, do we need to follow the trend in
Uh,
audio branding?
mhm.
Yes.
Sorry,
Do we
what?
need to follow the do we need to follow the trend in audio branding? For example, this year people talk
Mhm.
about the sport and then the Olympics and everything, so we have to
Ah,
follow those kind of not atmosphere but also the energy of the movement of Olympic, for example,
I think it depends on
for
who
the
you are.
advertisement.
Yeah, I think
Mm,
it depends on who you are because you have to be true to yourself and who your audience is before
mhm,
you follow any trends. So I would say
mhm,
that an audio brand that is true to you and your audience is going to last you a lot
mhm,
longer than one that chases trends. So
Mhm.
I mean, take that as you will. It depends on what you're after and what you're selling, what you're doing.
Mhm.
But I would
Mhm.
say that follow your own trend.
Follow your own trend, especially when you
Yeah.
have just started. Except if you are already really big, like the Nike and the other brands,
Well, yeah, but then
Louboutin,
someone's
for
making you
example.
an audio brand and yeah, you don't need to
That's
worry about
true,
that.
not ourselves.
Yeah.
Jody, do you have any message for the audience?
I would say
Maybe you,
yeah.
yes,
I was just gonna
okay.
say that sound is important, that you should not keep
Mm-hmm.
it as a last resort or not think about it until the end of your production. It really does make that connection to your audience. So if you want to reach them in the heart, think about your sound.
And then how can our audience reach you
The
easily?
best place would be
Mm-mm.
voiceoversandvocals.com.
.com.
And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and if you want to have a listen to the podcast, that's at audiobrandingpodcast.com.
Thank you so much, Jody, for today. I have to close it because
Thank
I know
you.
you are very busy and this is your dinner time there also. It's always an honor for me to have you, and you always
Thank
support us
you.
as a sponsor on my program and my event. And yes, I wish you a lot of good things happening in
You
your
too.
industry. Thank you so much, Jody, for being here.
Thanks. This has been a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Me too. It's an honor for me to have you on our team. And I'll see you
Thanks.
soon. And our
Okay.
audience, and tomorrow we are going to have another guest speaker at the same time at 5 p.m. Eastern. I try to be more flexible in this 100 days. It's not like before on the same time every day. Maybe I can change the time also, and it's not always with the guest speaker because I need to deliver about media branding also that I am into now. And that is because I listened to the advice of Dr. Terry Levin. Yesterday, she was our guest speaker, right? And then people reach us because we have the solo podcast also. It's not always with the guest speaker, and I would like to apply it on 100 days. And Jody, again, thank you so much for being here. And
Thank you.
then, ladies and gentlemen, see you tomorrow. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye bye.